One match remains to decide it all for each team. A lot of movement in the table this week. Some teams will be cutting it very close in the final match day next week. Guys, it's been a while, hello, but we are back and happy to be here. I hope you all have been keeping well since I've seen you last. Certainly a few stories that I missed out on covering, but the sport keeps moving and we will be there. Plus, I am planning out the World Cup content. It is going to be fun, man. But just quickly, you can catch the Champions League on DAZN in select territories, even in Spanish in the USA. I'm in Canada. That's how I watched the Champions League. Their multi-view feature is super sick, makes watching the multiple matches easy for me. Use my link below if you are interested, okay? Man City going away to Bodo in one of the earlier kickoffs on Tuesday, and the slide continues. The season is long, yes, but I had them finishing in 4th in the Premier League and just outside of the top 8 in the Champions League, simply because I don't trust their defense, even with someone like Ruben Dias or Stones back there. And this showed further, I think, that you simply cannot trust their back line at all. It was a 3-1 that kind of flattered City. Yes, they were lucky to not lose by more goals, as it felt like every single counterattack from Bodo Glimt would end with the host celebrating on that plastic pitch. You'd be excused for thinking that after the half at 2-0 down, Man City, would turn the screw and find their attack and they would start to fire, but that didn't really happen. Yes, City had control, but it was a lot of passing the ball around the outside of the 18-yard box, then a cutting counterattack that would force a save out of Donnarumma, or they would, Bodo that is, hit the crossbar or whatever. There was a lot of opportunities there, so huge credit to Bodo Glimt, who were so close to getting a massive win over Tottenham previously at home, if not for that late equalizer from Spurs, but they pulled it out here against City, defended brilliantly, were tidy in the attack, smart runs to draw City's defenders all over the place, efficient finishing on top of it all. For City, yes, Marc Guéhi will be a big boost to the back line, but he doesn't fix everything. Just like there's only so much Donnarumma can do to paper over the cracks in defense, they'll say they need guys to return from injury, which isn't wrong, but I feel like Pep is also in between wanting to play as he prefers versus how he played a bit earlier in the season, where they would sit back a little bit more and play on the counter. For Erling Haaland as well, that's just 1 goal in his last 8 matches now, which is below standard for sure. Inter versus Arsenal. Inter seemed a bit shell-shocked with how quickly Arsenal started this match, didn't they? They absolutely grew into the game, that's for sure. Not before Arsenal would get a scrambly goal from Gabriel Jesus to open things up. Speaking of opening things up, Marcus Thuram was making some very intelligent runs between Mosquera and Saliba, or the center backs and the fullbacks, causing some issues out there for a bit before Sucic smashed it past Raya. Stunner from that midfielder, one of the ones to watch, I said at the beginning of the season. Then Arsenal would get their contractually obliged corner kick goal, touch off the bar, tucked in by Gabriel Jesus, his second. Both sides would kind of trade chances in the second half. Inter's attack looked bolstered for a moment when Esposito came on for Lautaro. Bit of a surprise he was replacing the Argentine, but they looked all the better for it. Not good enough, of course, as Arsenal would get a third via Victor Gyökeres, and wow, a technically impressive goal from him, which he hasn't been able to claim too often since joining Arsenal. He'll be relieved. Arsenal supporters will be relieved. Arsenal win 3-1, 7 wins from 7, fantastic work. Real Madrid dismantled AS Monaco, which will have done a lot, not just for the confidence of the players, but they're giving the supporters something to latch on to, right? Because we saw how hostile they were toward their own players this past weekend with the whistles, demanding more out of the squad, demanding they raise their standards. One man who really raised their performance was Vinicius Jr., who had a hand in plenty of goals in this match, opening for Mbappe and Massantuonos. But if you could give assists for own goals, he'd get one for the Kerrer own goal. Also scoring with that stunning strike himself. Went over and hugged Arbeloa after, which says a lot. So like I said, something for the fans to see as a showing of intent from the players. But they'll keep in mind that this is the 9th place Ligue 1 team that they beat, who has lost 4 consecutive matches in Ligue 1. 2 3-1 losses at home in a row for AS Monaco. Now, Sporting welcomed PSG to Lisbon, and they thought that they had absolutely stolen a result after Luis Suarez had scored Nice finish from him to clean up a ball that could have gone anywhere really, but a technically perfect strike from the Colombian Luis Suarez. It wasn't a Sporting lead for too long, however, as Kavica Kvaratskhelia would show his class with a curling effort, a powered curling effort, but Sporting were an improved side after the goals and were able to carve out chances that culminated in some great work from Trincão before Suarez, that man again, would head it low past Chevalier from a rebound. What a result for Sporting. No joy for Nuno Mendes on his return. Fantastic stuff from Sporting. Club Brugge beat Kairat in the early match 4-1 in Almaty. Olympiacos went from 0 wins to 2 in the past 2 match days. They beat Leverkusen and Piraeus 2-0 with both goals in the first half. The first one just 2 minutes into the game. Costinha with a great header at the near post from a corner. Taremi with the second at the other end of the first half, right in stoppage time, and Olympiacos, they slipped through with that 2-0. They could slip through into the knockout stage. One team who continues to flounder, at least relative to their ability, thanks to tons of injuries, Napoli. They go away to Copenhagen, and despite Copenhagen going down a man in the 35th minute from Delaney getting a red, despite McTominay scoring what was his 4th goal of this Champions League campaign shortly after, Copenhagen managed to steal a draw from under Napoli's noses. A penalty given away, taken by Jordan Larsson, and it was saved initially, but he put away his own rebound. That is Henrik Larsson's son. He's been around the block at this point, man. Was surprised to see that he's 28 already. Ajax, nice to see them starting to find their feet this season. Also, speaking of former players' sons, Maximilian Ibrahimovic signed with Ajax on loan this January. That's fun to see, playing at his dad's old club. We'll see if he makes the step up to the first team. But anyway, Ajax defeated Villarreal 2-1 at the Estadio de la Ceramica. Honestly, one of the most gorgeous stadiums you could find. Really love that one, but too bad Villarreal's performances are anything but gorgeous. They rival Kairat Almaty now to be the worst team in the league phase with just 1 point, while Ajax have 2 wins from their past 2 matches. They sit on 6. And finally, Thomas Frank lives on for now as Tottenham beat Borussia Dortmund 2-0 at home. Dominic Solanke with his first start since a friendly in July. Nice to see him starting and scoring. Cheeky finish as well. But Wilson Odobert for sure the star here with 2 assists. The second showing his speed. Now Spurs have clinched a playoff spot, or a spot in the knockout round. So they will be advancing. We don't know whether it will be in the top 8 or what have you, but they are advancing to the next round of this competition. Benfica and Juve played out a 6-pointer, if you will. Well, for Benfica, it was a must-win. They came in on 6 points and host Real Madrid in their final match. For Juve, on 9 points, could get by with a draw, then a win away to Monaco, but that would not be advisable. May as well just get it done now, right? Benfica started this match super slowly, but then started getting chances here and there. Not many, to be honest, and many of them came from forcing errors out of Juve's back line, who coughed up possession way too close to their own box. For the most part, in that first half, the keepers were pretty much unchallenged. Di Gregorio actually had to make one nice save. Lloyd Kelly had to be quick on the rebound. But other than that, it was a lot of misses and half chances for both teams. But that second half, man, if I'm Juve, I'm losing my mind with how many times they were losing the ball in their own half. But Benfica was too hesitant in the attack, lacked any killer instinct, and with 1 of 2 attacks within a couple of minutes, Kefren Turam put Juve ahead. Against the run of play for sure, but the game is not about having more opportunities. It's about scoring goals, and that's what Juve did. And speaking of which, McKennie was absolutely doing his thing out there. He rose to the occasion for Juve, and that second goal that Juve scored was beautiful. Well worked from them, and Juve get the win. They break the UCL curse against us, as they were winless since 1993 against Benfica, which is a wild stat. Benfica's season is effectively over at this point, unless they get some major favors in the Champions League next week. That failed penalty. That was a good metaphor for our season thus far. That missed penalty from Pavlidis just sums up our season perfectly. Liverpool away to Marseille at the Stade Velodrome, not an easy place to go at the best of times, let alone when Aubameyang is in the Champions League form that he has been carrying, but he was on the bench to start this one. That's a relief. Liverpool had Salah up front, playing alongside Ekitike, who thought he'd actually opened the scoring, but was just offside. Thankfully for Liverpool, however, they have one of their clutch squad members who is a great free kick taker, Dominic Szoboszlai, the man who I have consistently said is Liverpool's most important player, most consistent player. Their season has been sort of stitched together by him, whether it's clutch goals, assists, filling in at right back, for goodness sake. The man has been central to anything good for Liverpool. The few good things in their own opinion, but all the same, he has been there through it all. He has performed. What a man. Liverpool would come close on a few other occasions, including Wirtz, but Frimpong would force a goal through on an attempted squared ball to Salah that went in off of Rudi's inner leg. Gakpo would add one later. Nice 3-0 win, and Liverpool are 13 matches undefeated across all competitions now. Nice little run of form they're picking up here. Slavia Praha hosted Barcelona, and what a match this was. A frustrating one for Barca supporters to start, as their team failed twice in the first half to defend set pieces, near post ball finding the back of the net twice, on one occasion off of Lewandowski's head. But as expected, Barcelona had plenty of firepower. Fermin was fantastic. Lewandowski got a goal at the right end of the pitch as well. And the pick of the lot was absolutely Dani Olmo's perfect strike into the top corner. A scare at first, but a routine win in the end for FC Barcelona. Galatasaray and Atletico played out a 1-1 draw that either team could have won. Ketebag continued to pile the misery on Eintracht Frankfurt, who recently sacked Dino Topmöller. 3-2 win for Ketebag. They are on the brink of qualification to the next round, man. Atalanta hosted Athletic Club and lost 3-2, while Chelsea hosted Paphos and won 1-0. Nice to see those videos of David Luiz greeting all of the staff that he will have known so well from his many years at Chelsea. He unfortunately didn't feature in this match. He was on the bench. Bayern win again, as they typically do. Kane with a double that could have been a triple or a hat-trick, as he hit the woodwork with a penalty in the 81st minute. Bayern went down to 10 men in the second half and didn't really skip a beat against Union Saint-Gilloise. Fantastic performance from Newcastle United as they defeated PSV 3-0 on a night where Anthony Gordon equaled Alan Shearer's record for the most goals in a single Champions League campaign for Newcastle United. He's on 6 goals now, so not a bad haul at all from the winger. All right, let's see the damage. As we already knew, Arsenal are at the tippity top with Bayern as their closest rivals, 3 points behind. Bayern are perfect bar that loss to Arsenal. And look at that, all of the English clubs except for Man City are in the top 8. In the middle portion of the table, you can see that the teams on 12 points are virtually, and that Olympiacos are the cutoff team currently on 8 points in 24th. Now, below them, you have teams like Napoli, Benfica, Ajax, etc., who are all currently eliminated from the competition as things stand. Top goal scorer, Kylian Mbappe on 11 goals now after his brace versus AS Monaco. Kane on 7 behind him. And the top assistsman, Michael Olise, with Vinicius Jr. up there as well now on equal footing. Okay, guys, as mentioned, next week settles everything. No 2-week break. It's next week. All will be sorted. Should be some interesting final matches. That table is going to dance. Appreciate you. It's nice being back. And see you early next week for a video. A nice Rabona TV deep dive into something. See ya.